Hey, what's up guys? It's Jared from The Mystic Guy. So in this video, I'm going to give you three of the best tips for guys to have a better relationship. Alright, so let's get into it. Alright, so number one, it's real simple. Just listen. A lot of times when women have problems, the only thing that you can do is just listen. As guys, we like to think, oh man, what are some solutions? That's the first thing we go to whenever we encounter a problem in our life, whether it's money or relationship. How can I fix the problem? So I know in my own experience, sometimes when my last girlfriend, she would start telling me about her problems, I immediately started coming up with thoughts of, okay, how can we fix this? What can we do? And then I would just start spitting out solutions. And then she would look at me and she'd be like, you're not listening. And I'd be totally confused. But a lot of the times, all they just want is just to tell you what's going on with them and some of the problems that they're having. And that's it. All you gotta do is sit there and listen. You don't even have to say anything. Just sit there, nod your head, and just listen. And then that's it. And then, if you want, you can say, hey, do you want some possible solutions? And then they can say yes, and then you can offer them. And if they say no, then that's okay. Then just let them be. You supported them and they feel heard. So that's number one. All right, number two. Don't just communicate with your partner, communicate about the way you communicate. So a lot of the times we just think, oh, communication, like that's key. We hear that. It's like an over-repeated phrase in relationship advice. But it's so much more than that. Communication is so complex. There's so many layers to communication. There's what you say, then there's what you mean and what you think you're saying, and then there's all that on the other person's side as well. So communication is really, really key, but communicating about the way you take in information and the way you put out information is just as vital, if not more. I remember in my last relationship, I would share some of my thoughts and my problems with my girlfriend at the time, and she would just sit there and listen, and she would just sit there and stare at me blankly, and I'd be like, you're not listening to me. And she's like, well, of course I am. But that's because I always thought that, if she's listening to me, then she's coming up with solutions. On the flip side, when she would share with me her problems, I would just sit there and then I would spit off all these solutions and, oh, here we go, we can do this, we can do that. And then she'd be like, you're not listening to me. And I'd be like, of course I'm listening to you. So we thought about, like, the way that I think of listening is very different from the way that she thinks of listening. I think if a person offers me solutions and they add comments after I tell them something, then they were listening. That shows that they were listening. But for my last girlfriend, she just wanted to be heard. And if I just didn't say anything, then that meant I actually listened. So it's really important to communicate with your partner the ways that you communicate. What do you think of listening? What do you think of just being receptive? How do you communicate? There's so many layers to it. And a lot of times arguments can be avoided when we just understand how we communicate and how our partner communicates. All right, number three, be open and honest 100%. A lot of the times when we first meet people, we only share our good sides. We share the good side, and then that starts bringing them in, and then eventually the bad side comes out. But share the good and the bad, right? It doesn't have to be right away, but it should be. You should just be honest and open, because the bad stuff is always going to come out. And that's what it means to be in a relationship. If you really trust your partner, then you can share the parts of yourself that you haven't accepted within yourself yet. Share the shadow side, because if you don't, it's gonna come out eventually. And a lot of times when it does come out, it comes out in a very bad manner. It can either come out consciously, it can be your choice, and you can say, hey, these are the parts, this is my past, but it's the past. Or you can just forget about it and let it come out unconsciously. And if it comes out unconsciously, then it's going to affect the relationship in a negative way. I remember in my last relationship, I was really nervous when I first met that girl, because I had a really, really dark past with other women. I hooked up with a lot of women. I was really promiscuous at one point in my life because of other things that were going on. And I didn't really want to share those parts because I couldn't really accept them within myself. But then I realized that I wanted to have a relationship that was honest, that was based on trust, that was based on love and honest and open communication. And so I explained to her all the stuff that I did in the past, because I felt that was important, because I really cared for this person and I wanted them to know every aspect of me, the past selves of me, but also who I was now. And that was really scary for me at first, because I was like, man, you know, I don't know if she's going to trust me, but like, that's not me anymore. Like, I'm not that person. I'm really committed. And at first she freaked out and was a little scared and was like, well, I don't really feel secure about our relationship then, because how can I trust you to, you know, to stay faithful if you did all those things? But then once she started realizing that I was always open and honest, she started to trust me and realize, oh wait, this person's, you know, they're sharing every aspect of themselves with me, all the good stuff and the bad. And so that actually, in the long run, allowed us to build a trust that I had never built with another person before. And the relationship was really, really awesome because of that. It's really important, though, to share every part of yourself with that other person. Be honest, be open, hold nothing back. Even the parts of you that you have trouble accepting within yourself, as soon as you get them out there, you change the way you're in relationship with your past, because you can learn to accept them. You can learn to accept those dark parts. A lot of the times when you share those things with another partner, they might get scared, they might have negative reactions, or they might have positive ones and accept you. You can't really know for sure, but it's just important to share every aspect of yourself with them, because it's gonna come out eventually. It's gonna shine through, and when it does, it can be bad if you didn't already communicate it beforehand. Sometimes if you hold those dark parts within yourself, you might find yourself resenting your partner because you want to share those things, but then you feel like you can't. You feel like they won't accept you, and so then you just automatically resent them because they don't accept these parts of you. But you don't know that. You're only going to know if you try, and you'd be surprised. A lot of people are way more accepting of everything. We just don't always think it because we kind of hide a lot of ourselves. But most of us are pretty similar. We're all very similar in a lot of ways. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for this time. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see y'all soon. Peace. Pew, pew, pew. Whoa, where'd the glasses go? Now the hair's down.